Sophie, you raised the issue of emotional regulation and competency in meeting some of the SDGs. We didn't know about emotional regulation a decade ago, certainly a couple of decades ago. What evidence is there that addressing children's emotions by parents works? And how do you think that can relate to meeting some of those sustainable development goals?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it comes back to, I think you're right, it's in more recent years, we've actually found that these essential emotional competence, like understanding how you feel, being able to regulate your emotions, helps you in your relationships, it helps you to learn, it helps you to thrive, but it also helps you to be more empathic with others, to be more connected with your physical world, to care. And so these things are areas we want to target. And so we need to be able to support parents to be able to do that through different parenting resources, parenting programs. But I think also when I'm hearing us talk here, we also have to think wider. You can't parent if you're really stressed, if you're very depressed, if you're in a violent relationship, if you're in chaos, if you're in COVID lockdown, for example. These things are pressing in on parents' capacity to then respond to emotions in kids and the emotional needs of children. So we've got to work at that level as well as provide the materials or the resources for parents to think, how can I meet my child's emotional development well?
In developing well, you can see a link there between that and meeting some of those SDGs.
Yes, it's really interesting. When we were looking into the SDGs, parenting, it touches on many of these, but it's not a central piece of any of the sustainable development goals. And in particular, I'd say, well, it looks at preventing mental health problems or promoting well-being. Parenting does as the third sustainable development goal. But we don't really have a focus on parenting being critical for that. We're still focusing on the child as the outcome there, not necessarily the parent or the family context as the outcome.
Those 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, are you saying that there should be another one that focus specifically on parenting, or does it fit best being infiltrating the other 17?
Look, I think as our group of the Parenting and Family Research Alliance, we've really wanted to move towards parenting being central and viewed much more centrally, both in policy and in practice. And maybe as a sustainable development goal, that is important. Right now, as we say, it's a part of all. But still, at the same time, if parenting is only just a part of other things, we can't prioritize it in the same way. And maybe we don't prioritize it in the same way because we're a bit avoidant of it, or we'd rather focus just on the child rather than what is it within me that I need to do to shift as a parent, or as a society, how do we help parents shift?
Oh, I'm really interested in this. I wonder what the rest of our panel think. Maybe if I could go to you first, Donna, would this actually help the engagement between parents and schools if parenting was a specific sustainable development goal?
Yeah, I feel very strongly about this. I think Madonna, that if we don't name it, then it's very hard for people to see what their role is. And as Sophie suggested, of course we can see it in all of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's there and it contributes to all of those outcomes. But without it being defined, it's hard for people to see what it is that can be done. But I'd like to be a little bit controversial for a moment, because I think we've been talking a lot about parenting, and often that makes us think about grandparents and parents and so on. Now, parenting is a community approach as well. And I think even the choice of the word parenting versus parents as being our focus is really critical here. And we've certainly found this in our research, that everybody has a role to parent children. Parenting is a group activity. People shouldn't never walk past a child without smiling at them and engaging with them if they possibly can. And I think really pushing the community to see that everybody has responsibility here, just like the sustainable goals all have responsibility to address this, is absolutely critical.
Sarah, I'm going to come to some of your fabulous research in just a moment, but do you share that view that this could be a specific sustainable development goal?
Yeah, I don't really share that view, because but my argument is different. My argument is not that parenting doesn't matter, but I think it matters to all these goals. And I think, we should just own them all and just make parenting the basis of all of them. And just,
Okay,
So, yeah.
I appreciate that. And Daryl, you're nodding as Sarah says that. Is that your view too?
Oh, look, I'm torn because I think that there is value in having a separately named SDG in order to focus our attention on it. But the risk is then that it becomes somebody else's responsibility. Somebody else is going to be responsible for the new SDG 18 that we're proposing, and that we think in my role of poverty reduction or my role in education or gender equity that I don't need to focus as much about it. So I think there's risks either way. We just have to find ways of making it absolutely central.